Hello. So, my name is Rashida once again. So, basically, I know this one's a bit delayed, but what I'm actually going to be doing is the getting started process. So, I think that should have probably been one of the first videos I made, but I was still working out the kinks and everything of trying to figure out what to say, what to do, what to put first, and yada, yada, yada. So, without further ado, I'll be taking you through what I would say getting started with becoming a international teacher, especially if you're looking to come to England or the UK. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. So if you see me looking down, I'm actually just consulting with my notes on my phone um, to keep track. All right, so I would say that the number one step or the first thing that you're going to look at is choosing an agency. Now I have a video, I'll probably link that up in the description as well. I have a video on the different teaching agencies that you can actually come up with that I have personally used or personally know someone there. Let me not say personal, but professionally know someone there, worked with one of these persons, and I think they're reputable people. So I would say choosing an agency. Some people say so how do I go about choosing an agency? It's simple. You don't have to choose. Just go with all of them because that's what I did. It not only does it increase your chances of more interviews, but it also speeds up the process in the sense where when one agency knows that you're working with other agencies as well, they're more likely to try to push you to get something quicker because they know that you have other options. Also, you get, say for instance, you get one offer today, you do another interview tomorrow, you get another offer, you have different offers to compare. It's hard to do that when you have just one agency working with. So the major thing is it is free. If you're paying, it's illegal. Yeah. So you don't pay the agencies, the school pays them for you. You're that valuable. So because it's free, why not? I always say it's free, so why not? It's free to you. Someone pays them, but it's not you. Yeah. They get paid when you get hired. So why not? So the second thing is resume tips. So some people will be like, what do I do in terms of resume? It's simple. Have your generic resume. If you want a specific one, I've always used Canva. So Canva is a free website and it has tons of free templates that you can just literally edit in, and it just makes it very presentable. The reason why I would say it's not the most important thing is most, if not all of the agencies will ask you for a CV initially, but also, once you've sent them your CV already, what they'll then do is send you their personal CV template. Yeah. Their personal CV template. And I'll show you a design of one of those on screen as well. So they will send you the specific CV template in order to actually fill in. So you'll then have to be copying and pasting. Some things will be on there that you've never done. Say, for instance, an objective is something that most people don't do, or a profile, which is like your professional statement, is something that most people don't do as well. So it really doesn't matter because you're going to have to do one for each agency, anyways. So it really doesn't, it's not the most significant thing. If you're going to ask, I would say use Canva, use any of the professional CV and cover letter templates. It's fine. The other thing is, thirdly, and it's probably one of the most important ones, researching the school. So let's look at it this way. The fact that you're watching this video means that you've possibly gone through university or college to get your higher education, to get your bachelor's or master's or even both, um, to actually get this type of job as a teacher. Now, the thing is, with everything, you have research. Now, if you know that you have an interview for a school, the things that I would say is number one, research the school. So you need to know where's the area that the school's in. Number two, the Ofsted report is very, very important. It's very important and it's not important at the same time. I'll explain in a second. So the Ofsted report, you want to know, do you have a school that is requires improvement, which is on the lowest of the spectrum, good, which is in the middle, or outstanding, which is at the top. Yeah. The third thing is Yeah, so that was researching the school or the area, the Ofsted. The other thing is you want to check on the leadership board. So you need to know, you're going on an interview, you need to know um, what the head teacher, which is the equivalent of a principal, I believe it's called in or Caribbean countries are called. So you need to know who the principal is, what they look like. You need to also know the most important one, the designated safeguarding lead, which is shortened for DSL. You'll have deputy DSLs in most cases as well. You need to know who they are because safeguarding is the number one thing when it comes on to children in the UK. So I would say if you're going to do anything, research who the safeguarding lead is. It's going to come in handy in a second. So you need to know the head teacher so far. You can know the deputy heads or have a general idea of who they are, the DSL, and then also you need to know who your HOD, which is your head of department for your specific subject area is. So say for instance, I'm in science. I research who my HOD is. It might be handy if they have something on the website about the director of science or the director of that subject, say for instance, the director of languages, director of business, whatever it might be. Research those people. The other thing is you might want to look at the teachers that they have. So, say for instance, get a look at most of the times teachers' pictures will be on the website. Yeah, or mugshots are on the websites. Anyways, you might want to see what the teachers look like because it might give you an idea of how diverse it is and what you're going into. All right, so I would say those are the most important things. Then I would say I already touched on it a bit. Research the area, and when I say research the area that it's in, I mean the area that the school is in. What the most most importantly, what the cost of living is like, what the crime rate is like as well, what the what the occupations, what types of occupations, transport links, stuff like that. You need to know like the basics, what's going on in that area. Then you need to decide, are you going to live in the same exact area that you teach in? I always say don't play where you work or work where you play, meaning if you work in this city, don't have to live in it. You can live in the next town over. So I would say look at the towns surrounding and what the transport links are like, because you know more than likely coming in you're going to be taking the bus or public transport, not having a car unless you're that privy. Then you need to know about that. The other thing is interview tips. So this is my favorite part. So interview tips. As a person that I would say I'm very personable. Yeah, I would say interviews comes almost naturally to me because I like talking to people, even though people might think I'm very antisocial at times. In the sense where in the interviews, it's completely fine to be yourself because everybody else is taken is like what I always say. If you're going to go in and pretend to be somebody else, in most cases, these people will see right through you. And the thing is, if they can't accept you as who you are, what's the sense of that being the right fit for you? It's probably not. Yeah. So be yourself in that interview, put some personality in it. It must be formal, but also you need to understand how to crack a few jokes because getting someone like the head teacher or the designated safeguarding lead to warm up to you and really feel like you're a person and not someone just interviewing for the job will really go a long way in them taking you on. Yeah. So I would say interview tips are make sure what I always do is anytime I had a interview, I had my sticky note up and half the screen was my sticky note. Um, the other half would have been like the my email, the link to the Zoom meeting or whatever online platform it would be, and also the link to the website for the school themselves. Those were the things I always had in front of me. So my sticky note would have things like at the top, the school, the address, the name of the head teacher, just to jog my memory. Because normally, based on the time difference, you're jumping out of your sleep, getting up, getting ready for this interview. You want to be able to actually jump up and actually have everything there to just do one more glance over. So get up, have your sticky notes with your head teacher and all those informations that you would have actually researched before on a sticky note, ready to actually jog your memory and do this interview and do your best. Yeah. The other thing is, in that interview, you want to make sure that you're putting in as much or flaunting as much of the information that you researched as possible in a way where it doesn't seem too obvious. Now, what I always like to say is the best thing to do is, or the best places to stress this are as it comes on to the Ofsted reports and safeguarding. So, the reason why I say Ofsted is even my old deputy head at my old school had said to me that she was quite impressed that I actually read the Ofsted and actually knew what was on the Ofsted report. And I found it to be very strange. And I said to her, was I the first person? And she said, actually, yes, she's the first person I've interviewed internationally that has read their Ofsted report. And I found it very strange. It was something that I came up with doing. The other thing is if you can point out things, so when they ask you why or school, why do you want to come to, say for instance, ABC Academy? I want to come to ABC Academy because in the Ofsted report, I saw that the leadership strategies employed at the school were marked as outstanding. And for Ofsted to recognize such brilliance, I would think that these are people that I can really work with and that can actually develop me so well in my teaching career. Those are the types of things that they want to hear. You are actively pulling knowledge and showing them that you've read their Ofsted, but you're also answering their question at the same time. So you need to learn how to incorporate the information that you got into the questions that they're asking and your answers. Yeah. The other thing is with when it comes on to safeguarding. Now, I always, because I've researched it, it's just a part of who I am in a sense. Now, I would always research who the safeguarding lead was and say, for instance, the number one question that they're going to ask you, guaranteed, hands down, they're going to ask you, what do you know about safeguarding and what does it mean to you? What would you do in a situation where there is a safeguarding concern? A student maybe came to you with something. Well, say for instance, I'm going to make up a name. Safeguarding lead is um, Miss Brown. Let's say that. Yeah. So we're going to say, all right, so what I would do is if, say, for instance, a student, Sarah, came to me and said she was having some concerns about somebody else that's probably giving her the bad feeling and she thinks it's very inappropriate, I would then get my notepad down. I would jot it down. I would not ask any leading questions to sound like I'm giving her any ideas of what to say. I would actually listen and try to make as much quotes on what she's saying as possible, write down exact words, exact phrases, make myself seem very inviting and very calming and comforting to the child, and just let them understand that I'm there for them to take this statement for them to the best of my ability and actually make sure that they, at the end, they get the best results. What I would then do is I would pass this on to Miss Brown, which is a designated safeguarding lead. Now, if you notice, you drop that in. And if they heard nothing else that you said, or if you waffled for the entire thing, the fact that you mentioned the person's name, that person's probably going to be in the meeting and they're going to be like, oh, she knows me. So she already knows who she's supposed to come to for safeguarding. We're probably going to have to spend less time training this person on safeguarding because they've obviously done their research. They've obviously had some type of experience and this person seems well versed. Yeah, that's the type of thing that they're going to be thinking about at that point. Now, what I would say is safeguarding, hands down, that's definitely going to be one of the questions that they ask you. It's not an interview if they don't ask you about the safeguarding or safeguarding of students. It's not an interview. You're not getting that job. Simple as that. Now, the other thing is, because I want to wrap this up very quickly, expectations in the classroom. Now, this is a very tricky question to ask because people ask me, what's my honest opinion on the classroom in the UK? And I would say, everyone's going to have a different experience. But what I can say from many people's experiences that they've told me is 100% it is going to be a complete 360. So if you knew A to Z, it's now going to be something like A to T, then to U, then to Z. Yeah, that type of thing. So it's not going to be anything. The only thing that you're consistently doing is teaching. It's the only thing. Maybe the subject knowledge is going to be the same, and even then, it's going to be tweaked quite a bit. So, expectations, I would say, come very open minded. And I mean open minded in the sense of not just the classroom, not just your coworkers, not just your leadership team. I mean the country overall. You need to come open minded and understand that everything's going to be different. You're not in the same environment. Yeah. So, expectations, you can expect that it is going to be tough. But we all know this because we're all teachers. It is not easy at all being a teacher, so it's expected. So, expectations, just come in open minded. You can expect a lot, expect to be burdened, expect to be having some very random good moments with students that really warms your heart, but also just expect it to be a rough process where it's not going to be smooth at first. If you get it smooth, it's coming, it's coming. It's gonna come and it's gonna hit you like a train. But what I'm saying is, do not have too high of an expectation, do not have too low of an expectation. Come and make your own judgment based on the situation. If you've already made up your mind that you're coming to the country, come in open minded to the fact that everything's going to be different, everything's going to change, and you're going to have to adapt. Do not try to change people for your own benefit. Yeah, this includes the kids. Leave them be. Try your best. You're meant to, as an educator, as a teacher, you're meant to be very flexible and adaptable, or adaptive, I believe that is, to the situation. Make yourself fit into the situation. It's not going to be easy. It's not. As long as you come in open minded, I think that's the greatest thing that you can do for yourself coming into this country. But any additional questions, I'd love to hear. Any suggestions on things that you want to hear about, or my I'm actually thinking about doing some story times because God, I have some stories about classroom activities. Oh my God. But yeah, leave your comments down below, share, subscribe, like, just keep supporting the channel. We're here for you, and every single Monday I'm trying my best. Trying my best to, but it's the kids first, my child first, then the kids. So I'll see you guys next Monday, and enjoy the rest of your night.